Hello Soulfist brethren. Today I will be showcasing what I believe is the most optimal rotation for EO. As you will see during Hype 3, there will only be like 1 or 2 spells on cooldown and they will be almost immediately used. So here it goes. Got a cooldown refresh from you again, but okay, that was a bit lucky, I think, because I feel like I got 2 cooldown refreshes, but yeah, it still goes about the same, especially the opener. And yeah, I will be explaining why these spells. It's actually pretty simple. I just went there's this Korean research for the new Soulfist skills, and as you can see here, I took the most important spells, well, those who deal damage, and you can see the damage coefficient over here on this line. And well, it's pretty simple as you just pick the highest ones, like this one and this one. The 66 one from Tempest Blast is actually from the tripod for Robust, well, Hype 3. So this is like the damage without Hype 3. It's still good, but the cooldown is quite high, and in the rotation it didn't feel as good. So although it's a really good spell, but yeah, so I'm not using this one. This one is mandatory. Obviously, this one is really strong. I've seen people use Force Orb instead of Illusion Strike, which I think is not the best, but I'll explain why after. This one, obviously, one of the best skills, has almost no cast time. And yeah, so first off, let me show my runes on these skills. Also, I forgot to show the tripod, so here. So this is 3, 3, 2. This one is really unimportant, I think. This is 1, 2, 1, 1, 3, 2, 2, 2, 1, 2, 1, 1. I'm gonna stop saying it because you can just look. For energy release, actually, in a lot of raids you can spec into Purify this instead of Tenacity, so it's really good. And yep, here. So I have Quick Recharge on Lightning Palm, Conviction on Celestial Palm, Judgment on Shadowbreaker, and then you have Galewind on Pummel, Bleed on Counter, Cast Speed on Illusion Strike, because these two are the longest lasting spells. Cooldown Refresh on Splash Step, and Galewind on Energy Release. You might think, why do I have Quick Recharge on a skill that I use second in my rotation, and my Judgment, which should be immediately after Conviction, is actually after my Pummel? So the reason is that when you go into Hype 3, you're usually not in like a Trixian position where all your spells are off cooldown, so getting the spells to refresh a bit is nice. And also, if you put Judgment right after Celestial Palm Conviction, Celestial Palm casts so fast that you can see when I do this, when I'm using Shadowbreaker, Celestial Palm damage is still being inflicted, like the palms are still falling. So there's a high chance that I actually won't get my Judgment, which really sucks. So that is why it's in this order. And also, if it's a bit weird to like not have Pummel inside your first Judgment, well, the first few seconds of your Judgment, but from what you've seen previously on what I did, it actually, the second rotation actually goes quite well with Judgment procced towards the middle end of the first rotation. And yeah, this is why. Also, as for Force Orb, even though technically it does still do good damage since it has like half the cooldown of Illusion Strike and deals as much if you cast it like on cooldown. The thing is, for how little damage it does and for how often you have to cast it, it's the Force Web is actually has a quite slow casting speed. I can show it here. Yeah, it's not the best. And also, since it has no immunity, having no immunity on like almost all of your DPS spell except Pummel kind of sucks in like a real raid, where if you get interrupted, like if the boss does like a little spin, you get interrupted and you lose the damage from that skill. And also, Illusion Strike is taking the place of a Crippling Barrier, what it used to be Crippling Barrier for me. And one of the most interesting uses for Illusion Strike and Crippling Barrier is that you can use it when there's a Medusa pattern. So imagine it's like a Khan Brel does the Medusa, and you can actually aim away from him and still hit him with the Illusion Strike. So that is actually quite important. It actually happens quite often. So that way, since you're like a damage over time class, you don't want to be like sitting idle doing nothing. So that's a way to cycle the spell even though there's like a Medusa pattern. So yeah, that is the rotation, and I will be showing some like comparison with other spells, although the rotation guide ends here. So if you just wanted to know the rotation, that's it. I use level 9 cooldown gems. It's doable with level 7 also, but just adjust for whenever like your spell's off cooldown. Just remember to Just remember to always cast to always put Celestial Palm and Lightning Palm on cooldown, because they have the shortest cast time. So it costs you almost no cast time to cast them. Especially Celestial. And yep. Also make sure to cast them before casting another spell, since like Celestial can fall while you're doing another spell. So it's better to like have it go first, since if you're casting the other spell, you can't cast Celestial. Anyways, so now I'll be showing some comparison for other spells. In order to control all, just in case you didn't see my engravings, and in order to control for critical strike, since they seem to affect the parse much more than like changing the spells themselves, I'll be removing my crit and adrenaline. Also my bracelet, since it gives crit. Right now, also I will not be back attacking. With my current setup, hope that wasn't a frontal. Okay, it does 14 million DPS, and it does around 300 million damage over Hype 3. So just note this. Normal 294 and 14.7. Okay. Now I'm gonna change I'll change Lightning Palm for Tempest Blast. It had the refresh room. Wait. Refresh, and we actually go this, and my gems. Lightning Palm. Tempest Blast. No awakening cancel, sadge. Okay, it does quite a bit less actually. Tempest 2-7. Although since I've been playing with my normal rotation much more, and I haven't really played in a real raid with Tempest Blast, my rotation might not be optimized, but yeah. 3.8. Shit. Okay, whatever. And now Force Orb. Oh my god, I hate that one. Force. Although the new animation is really cool, so yeah. I guess it's a redeeming factor. Let's see, quick prep, this, scattering. Tempest. Force Orb. I should have cast Force Orb first, actually. Okay, actually, I think I messed it up. So I need to cast Force Orb first. And I get to cast it again. Okay, this is doomed. Force Orb first. That was a cooldown refresh. Should have buffed before using Shadow Breaker there. Yeah, it's really hard to manage Force Orb. That was a very scuffed rotation, but it's quite hard to. Well, I haven't played much with Force Orb with the new build, so pretty hard to figure out what the optimal rotation is. Since you have to cast this like so many times, I think you can even cast it 3 times within one energy release. So 1, 2. Do I get 3? Nope. Okay. Almost 3. Maybe if I had level 10 cooldown, but yeah. Force Orb is pretty hard to use, especially when you're in a real raid. Since it also has no immunities. And yeah, that's I think that was all the spells. I've also tried Energy Blast, but Energy Blast, even though it's really nice, it gives you a ranged option, also a super armor option. The damage is so low and the cooldown is so high on this that it's hard to say if it's worth it. I really don't know. Maybe in some very specific scenarios, maybe like in Vulcan or something, but yeah, not the best spell either. Which is kind of sad because these 2 spells were really cool spells that had like I gave Soulfist a lot of versatility. Well, anyways, thanks for coming to my TED Talk, and goodbye.